Okay, in this video, we are going to go through installing Ubuntu on UTM for ARM, Ubuntu for ARM on UTM for Mac M1 processors. Phew, that's a lot. Right, so we go to our UTM webpage, we go to the gallery, we go find Ubuntu ARM, we click on the link. Now, I've already installed UTM for Mac, and I've already downloaded the latest version of Ubuntu Server for ARM by following these links. So let me launch UTM. There we go. Oops. And you can see I've done it previously, but I'll go through the process again. I'm going to click New Virtual Machine. We're going to give it a name. I like choosing a nice icon, so you click that. You can find the Ubuntu icon. There it is. Right, so that's fine. Don't click Save just yet. In System, we need to choose what type of processor is needed. Now, obviously, it's not x86. If you are on a regular Mac, this is what you will do. On M1, we are looking for ARM. And there we go, ARM 64-bit. And it will change that. You can leave that as fine. Now, memory, they always recommend half your system memory. So if you have an 8 gig RAM M1 Air, this will be 4 gigs. If you're on a 16 gig M1 MacBook Pro or Air, it'll be 8 gigs. 4 is fine though, it works. You don't have to do anything here. Here we need to install drives. Now I just want to go to my cheat sheet. And you can follow this document as well. It is really good. So yeah, we're just going to do a normal removable drive, 10 gigabits. So new drive. The only difference I do here is I make mine an NVMe drive because I just find it much quicker. You're going to say create. That's fine. And we're also going to add a USB drive. We're adding this so we can add CD-ROM stuff later. Click removable. That's important, otherwise you're going to use another 10 gigs. Create. That's it. And then we can click save, yeah. So let's click save now. Right, so there's my demo one. Obviously, if you click play, nothing's going to happen because you haven't attached an ISO to it yet. Yes, you still need to use ISOs even for ARM stuff. So we're going to go find an ISO. Now I've downloaded the one from the link earlier, so I just need to go browse to it. And if I'm not mistaken, it'll be there. You see, I also have Fedora, and I've got Raspberry Pi there. That'll be interesting to see if those works. I will try that later. And now we are just going to do a regular install. So it's not going to take very long, I think. Everything is in place. I'm going to click play. It's going to launch into the boot menu. I'm going to say I had a quick crash, so I just restarted this now. Never be afraid to restart. Ubuntu server, that is what we want. Enter. And it's going to load the data from the ISO into the virtualization layer, and then we're going to run a normal server setup. Okay, so the setup for this, like I said, is pretty straightforward. We are just going to go with English. I'm not going to update at this point. I'm happy with my keyboard layout. I'm happy with all of that. And yes, entire disk. And happy with all of that. Yes, I'm very sure. Now here you need to type in your name for your server. So I'm going to call myself Janrik. I'm going to call my server OFS demo Ubuntu. username, I'll just make it Jan. Then a password. You can install the SSH server here if you want to be able to SSH to it. I'm not going to do that at this point. My other one has it, so this is just a demonstration. I don't want any of these things. You can go through each one of them and decide if you need or want them. Probably in UTM, it's not really needed. And now it's going to install. And once it's done, it's going to reboot. So I'm going to kill the video here and then continue once the boring bits are done. Okay, so if it's done the initial setup and install, I've removed the CD-ROM. You can see it's one of the things they mention here. So it doesn't try and reinstall again. And if it all went well, we should now get to the OS. And there it is. So that is my Ubuntu server setup. And if you are a fan of the command line, or if you want to learn the command line, you can stop right here. That's all you need. But I like desktops. So let's log in first. There, I'm authenticated now. Let's install a desktop. Now I'm going to use the task cell root they recommend because it's nice. So sudo to give myself root access, apt install task cell. I'm installing task cell first because it is a nice way to install multiple things at once, which will happen when we install the Ubuntu desktop. So instead of having to go and install every single binary that's needed to make the desktop happen, once I have task cell running, I can just invoke that and it will do the work for me. So sudo task cell install Ubuntu. You will often notice with virtual machines that, or not just virtual machines, but Linux specifically, that when you type in your password, there's no little stars, anything that happened. So people think, oh, it's not working. That's a security feature. So people that are looking over your shoulder can't see your password is 8 characters or 9 characters or whatever. If you get it right, it's right. If you get it wrong, it will tell you. Okay, so this is going to run the desktop install for me now. It should be fairly quick. I say that, but there's 1,060 packages to install. So I'm again going to stop the video here and then continue after 11 minutes when it's done. Well, 6 minutes. We'll see how long it takes. Okay, so it's installed the desktop, we think. So let's have a look. There we go. Ubuntu desktop running on a Mac M1. And it's a fully fledged desktop. You can do all the desktopy stuff, all the Linux stuff that your heart desires. Yeah, context sensitive, obviously. So capital D. I always forget, but Linux is case sensitive. So if something is a small or a big letter, it matters. And yeah, so this is how you can install Ubuntu desktop, essentially on your Mac M1. And then you can get to do some Linux stuff.